How do you clarify or explain your supporting detail in order to give the reader a clearer understanding of what it is you're writing about? In this lesson, you will learn how to elaborate on your supporting details by using an anecdote. Let's review a moment. Persuasive writing is a type of writing where the author states his or her opinion about a topic and then proves that opinion true using evidence. The ultimate goal of persuasive writing is to get the reader to agree with whatever it is the author is arguing. So for instance, if the author is arguing that there are several advantages to using technology in the classrooms, then by the time the reader is done reading that essay, she should also believe that there are many advantages to using technology in the classrooms. As a writer, it is crucial that you make your argument easy for the reader to understand. Ways to do this is to make sure that you avoid asking them to make inferences, and that you clearly connect all arguments, all examples, back to the topic sentences and thesis. This way, if they can see how all this ties together and they understand your argument, they're far more likely to agree with you. So what we're talking about today is elaboration, and elaboration is found here in this part of the essay, in the body paragraphs. More specifically, it's information that's found in the body paragraphs that clarifies or explains the supporting detail. It gets more specific about the supporting detail. Elaboration also connects everything back to the topic sentences. And then sometimes really good elaboration, really specific elaboration also ties back to the actual thesis statement. Today we're specifically talking about anecdotes. And an anecdote is a brief story from personal experience that is used to illustrate a point. It's often used as a form of elaboration. So for instance, if I was trying to talk about how getting enough sleep is important because it helps you focus in class, I would then tell a story about a time when perhaps I didn't get enough sleep and I couldn't pay attention in class. An anecdote doesn't always have to be your own personal experience, but it does have to be a true story. The way to write it is to first write your supporting detail in essay format. Then you need to ask yourself, have I actually seen this happen, or have I heard of a time that this has actually happened? Then you need to write down that example in 1 to 3 sentences. The last thing you're going to do is you're going to connect the anecdote back to the topic sentence. So what you see here is an outline, and what we are doing right now is learning how to go from the outline to the actual essay. So the first thing you should always do is copy the topic sentence. One reason cell phones shouldn't be allowed in school is that they disrupt classes. Now my next step is to then write the first supporting detail. So I start off with an example transition, and then I say, for instance, cell phones ring in the middle of lessons. I'm just taking what I've already brainstormed and adding it to the essay. But now I need to ask myself, have I actually seen this happen, or can I think of a time when I've heard of this happening, of a cell phone going off in the middle of a lesson? And the reality is that I can actually think of a time that this has happened. So it's my job to now write it down in 1 to 3 sentences. So I'm going to write down the story. In fact, just yesterday a classmate's phone began ringing in class. Notice that I have used a transition word again, because you always want to connect your thoughts in writing. But I'm not quite done with my elaboration yet. Now I need to ask, how does this connect back to the topic sentence? And what I need to do is I think, okay, I'm trying to prove that this was disruptive. And the reason that this was so disruptive is because it took the student a long time to find the phone and turn it off. And by the time they did, the whole class was laughing at his ringtone. By the time everything was over, it took a long time to be able to resume the lesson again. So what I've done here is I've used a story to prove that the cell phone was disruptive because it rang in class, and then I explained how the fact that it rang in class actually disrupted the class. So the way to write an anecdote into your essay is to first write the supporting detail in essay format. Then pause and ask yourself, have I seen this happen? Then write down the story in 1 to 3 sentences. Finally, connect the anecdote back to the topic sentence. In this lesson, you have learned how to elaborate on your supporting details by using an anecdote.